שמע יתרו כהן מדיין חותן משה את כל אשר עשה אלוהים למשה ולישראל עמו כי הוציא אדוני את ישראל ממצרים. And Yitro heard. Okay, very interesting. What was the difference between Yitro and Moshe Rabbeinu? I want to ask you like this. I said a little bit of this downstairs. I'm going to review it. The Midrash says like this. Yitro, the Mechilta says like this. A shocking thing. בשעה שאמר משה ליתרו, תן לי ציפורה ביתך לאישה. Moshe asked for Tzipporah's hand in marriage. So Yitro is going to say, okay, I want you to learn in Kollel for 10 years. Right? That's what he would ask Moshe Rabbeinu, right? אמר לו יתרו, קבל עליך דבר זה שאומר לך ואני נענה לך לאישה. Accept upon yourself this one thing, and Tzipporah is yours. Okay, what? So what? Kollel, right? אמר לו מהו? אמר לו, בין שיהיה לך תחילה יהיה לעבודה זרה. מכאן ואילך לשם שמיים.
As a korban?
The first son should go to avodah zara. No, he should be idol worship. And the next should be l'shem shamayim. Moshe Rabbeinu, what did he answer? Kibel elav. Moshe Rabbeinu accepted it. Amar lo, Ishabali swear, vayishabalo shnemar vayoel Moshe. That's what the Midrash says. Moshe, what's going on? Yitro, first of all, there's a proof that Yitro already didn't believe in avodah zarah. Why? Because you remember when Moshe Rabbeinu went to the well to help out Tzipporah, everybody ran away. They didn't want to have anything to do with Yitro because Yitro, it says, was poresh from avodah zarah already. He went away from avodah zarah.
It's from Egypt.
Yeah. So why all of a sudden over here, Yitro is telling him go to avodah zarah? Strong question. Very, very strong question. You agree with me? It's a strong question. And second of all, Moshe Rabbeinu accepts on top of that. What does he accept? What's going on over here?
But was Moshe aware of Avodah Zarah and Hashem at that
Of course
time?
Moshe Rabbeinu was aware. Moshe Rabbeinu was the most aware.
How was he aware if he grew up in the house of Paro?
He was with his mother for 2 years, and that's it. Back to Paro's castle.
Well, he was a shepherd, right? Anybody who was a shepherd always had he ran Moshe. He had a lot of time to eat bonenut and to think. You see, that was the shiur we also gave a while ago. Paro knew very well about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just he wanted to channel the negative sources towards him, and not, it's like everyone knew about Hashem. The question was, can they manipulate Hashem or not? Paro thought he could manipulate Hashem, and that's why he saw, I could also do the Etzba Elohim. No, I could also do the same miracle. Until he got the Kinim, and then he got stuck, and then, as we say, the rest is history. It was all downfall. But Paro was a smart dude. Smart, and he knew there was a God. And Moshe Rabbeinu knew even more than that. So the question is, why is it that Moshe Rabbeinu...
I'm confused now.
Why is it that... Max, are you joining our shiur?
I got through the garbage, sir.
All right.
I'll do it, Max. Tell me I'll do it. Leave it there.
How is it possible that... How is it possible... Close the door.
Close the door. I'm being rude.
Okay, you're right. How is it possible that Yitro wanted his son to go to Avodah, grandson to go to Avodah Zarah? It doesn't make sense. I know Moshe Rabbeinu agreed. So, you know who asked this question? The Sefer Mayan Bet HaShoeva. He was a very special Jew. His name was Rav Shimon Schwab. You ever heard of him? Shimon Schwab, listen to this. He escaped the Holocaust. He was German. Like around the early 30s, he left. He, for World War I, as a youngster, got parnasa on being a chaplain, a Jewish chaplain for the German army in World War I. Before World War II, he escaped. He became a rabbi in Baltimore and eventually in Washington Heights. So he says, ironically, these Nazis, they used to send him a pension check because he was a rabbi for World War I. So even during World War II, during the Holocaust, he was still getting paid. So it says here, if I was in Germany, they'd be sending me to the gas chambers, and over here they're paying me pension being a rabbi. It's like the German, sometimes you're too square. That was the squareness of the Germans. Either way, he had a tremendous impact on American Jewish No, his, the people of the
Jewry.
community, Jewry. He was extremely honest. That was his trademark of emet. As a matter of fact, the IRS, when they came to audit him, the IRS, the guy told him, "I never met somebody as honest in my life as you." That was the way he was, straight and honest, and he's the one who asks this question. He's an unbelievable sefer over here. And my son got it for his graduation present. It's called Ma'ayan Bet HaSho'eva. And he writes like this. That Yitro already didn't believe in Avodah Zarah. But there was a fundamental difference between Yitro and Moshe Rabbeinu in how to study and how to come close to Hashem. Yitro, it says, went and tried every single Avodah Zarah before he came to Judaism. So he said, what I want to do is the same for your children, Moshe Rabbeinu. You're like this old school. You just believe in Hashem without asking too many questions. Na'aseh v'nishma. You go with Hashem without asking too many questions. What you have to do is that you have to try. I want your son to go try every single religion. You know that the Mormons, they have such a thing. When they reach I think 19 years old, they send their, not the Mormons,
The Amish?
the Amish, the Mormons. At 19 years old, when they're, they live in a very insular community. You know who the Amish are? They live in Pennsylvania. They don't believe
in Peterborough.
in Peterborough.
Yeah.
They don't.
They have a whole community.
Bradford.
They don't do believe in electricity or any
They
advances.
have outhouses.
They have outhouses. They live like I don't know what they do for the winter, but they live like
Old.
Like the Sefer.
I have a friend in L.A. He's a well-known comedian. His name is Elon Gold. And he's very, very funny. And he says, what's the difference between a Haredi Jew and Amish? There's a Haredi Jew has a BlackBerry. It's the only difference. They all look the same. Like,
True.
There was one guy who came to he didn't like, a Haredi Jew, and he goes to him, he says, you guys, and you don't go to the army, and you don't go to this, and what do you guys just do nothing? So he says, I'm Amish, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, I'm sorry. I was at an airport in Las Vegas with my, don't worry.
Vegas?
There I was in Vegas. I was going.
it's okay.
There's the Garmezian family there. We went for a donation.
It's okay.
No, it doesn't stay. We went there.
You went to Rafi and he cut you a check. And Don was there, no?
David, and in the Vegas airport, this guy comes over to me and my friend. He's also dressed like me almost, and he says, "I know what you guys are about." So I said, "What?" You guys are Amish. Okay, but the Amish, they have a life philosophy that at 19 years old, they send out their children to the world for a year. Go try it out
Figure
yourself.
it out. There's a show on that,
Yeah.
actually, you know that? There's
Yeah.
a reality show now.
There's a show on that they want them. They want them to figure it out on their own before they actually come back. Before they actually
We'll get
come
it
back,
used to stuff.
and that way, they're going to come back l'shem shamayim. That was Yitro's approach. I want you to try everything. I want you to try Buddhism. I want you to try Hindu. I want you to try Islam. I want you to try everything, and you on your own figure out what is the proper derech.
Try Islam doesn't come back.
What?
Keep.
Yeah, Islam, they're gonna kill him. They're gonna burn him alive. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna burn him alive.
Finito.
That was what Yitro said to do.
Wasn't Yitro one of the advisors of Paro?
Yes, we spoke about that a couple of weeks ago. We said the Yitro was one of the advisors, and he
Yes.
told
Eov.
and he
Eov.
told
Balak and
Eov ran away, and Yitro was the one who properly gave the he said that the Jews should remain.
So my question is, the first pasuk Vayishma Yitro.
Because Yitro had the sense of hakarat hatov, we said, of gratitude, right? Because he saw that Paro said, let's kill the Jews. It was a good answer. The Jews were going to take over. Paro had a good point. The answer is that Paro should recognize that the whole success of their people was coming because of the Jews. And Yitro had that midah of hakarat hatov. And that's why also he had the midah that what Sipporah came back home and said, the man helped us. How did you not invite him to our house? Because Yitro had that midah of hakarat hatov. Okay, that was Yitro, yeah.
No, so the pasuk says Vayishma Yitro, but Yitro wasn't there while everything was happening.
No, not yet.
No,
Not yet. He wasn't fully
being
involved.
the advisor of Paro, he was not in the whole 10 makot. He wasn't during that time.
He would have left.
No.
He would have left before.
I think he went to Miami during that time.
No, I don't know. Seriously.
I don't know. I don't think he was around. I don't think
No?
he was around. I don't think he was around. I think what happened was that he kind of got pushed to the side. And look, nobody wanted to associate with him. His daughters, nobody wanted to associate with his daughters because he said, "I don't believe in you guys anymore." I'm on my own, and so he was an outcast because of that. So here you have Yitro. He said, "Go figure things out on your own." Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Okay, I agree for my first kid. I'll do that." And believe it or not, this is why Moshe Rabbeinu was punished for not doing Brit Milah only for the second son, not for the first son. Why? Because the second son, he should have done Brit Milah right away. No, you have to work more, Max. You haven't worked enough.
Never mind, I got a big job again, the same job every 2 months.
Yeah.
I go through hell with it.
No. Gershom, it wasn't working the way he wanted him to work. So, what did Moshe Rabbeinu do? He says, it doesn't work this way. You have to go to Hashem without cheshbonot, without being overcomplicated. And listen to this.
Overcomplicated.
Without being overcomplicated. And this is what I spoke about downstairs also, about what the point of Tu Bishvat is. Today is Tu Bishvat. Can I repeat a little bit what we said? Not a lot, just Yeshut Eli. I'm going to repeat a little bit of what we said.
Yeshut Eli Barabutai.
On Tu Bishvat was a time that Haman, when he picked the lottery, it fell out first of all on Tu Bishvat. He said, "That's it. I'm going to do the lottery over again because on Tu Bishvat I can't fight against them." He knew that Tu Bishvat was a special day. It's a Yom Tov. Furthermore, it says in the Arizal, you should try to have 30 different types of fruits on Tu Bishvat.
Foods?
30 types of fruits on Tu Bishvat. 30 different types of fruits.
30. 30.
All types of tikkunim. We were here in Magen David a couple of weeks ago. We did shovevim. You remember all the Baba Hasidim came in and we did a mincha that took an hour long. What was it about? It was Al Pi Kabbalah during the time of Shmot, Va'ira Bo B'Shalach, Yitro and Mishpati. It's a very auspicious time to be mitaken, to rectify anything that to do with impurity. Tikkun Akeri of wasted semen, which is a very, very strict thing according to Kabbalah, even if it's not a person's fault, but it creates children. Thousands and thousands and thousands of children. Spiritual children, right? Wasted semen. So there's a special
The negative ones.
Well,
that's what I heard.
The negative ones, but if a person, let's say, he's cohabitates with his wife during times where she cannot get pregnant, those are positive children. That's why, by the way, there's a minhag in Yerushalayim that the children don't follow the parents at the levaya. Let's say their parents die, they stay home, they don't go to the cemetery at all. That's minhag Yerushalayim. Moroccans don't have this minhag, but Yerushalayim, they announce the children should stay behind. You know that?
Something to do with the other children.
That's right. You know that because they say, when they say all children shouldn't come, that means even the bad children that were born from the Tipad Zera, all those black eyes or whatever you want to call them.
Are we not allowed to say like the demons or whatever? Or?
No, they're not demons.
I heard of that. Like
they're not demons. Demons is other things. Demons is demons just hang around.
Demons, I think,
demons
come if the semen go to the vine. Chas v'salom.
To where?
The shipment goes to the vine.
The semen go to the vine.
In vain.
In the vein.
No,
Yes,
that's not demons. That's not demons. It's
demons for
it's bad children. It's not demons.
Next topic.
It's not
I heard
demons.
it's demons.
So either way, yeah, we don't like to speak about it at night, anyways. The we did a tikkun shovevim. You people, the Hasidim, like the strong ones on this, they fast every day during shovevim. Every day during shovevim, like Ramadan, even more. On Tu Bishvat, not allowed to fast. Tu Bishvat is Yom Tov. What's so great about Tu Bishvat? The answer is like this. Tu Bishvat is the Chag of the trees. What was so great about the trees? We'll see you, David. All the trees did something very wrong. and Maaseh Bereshit. Because Hashem said, Etz peri ose peri. Hashem told every single creation, and in the tree included, he told them, Etz peri, that your tree should grow and make fruit, and the tree and the fruit should be the same. Just like you eat the fruit, you should be able to eat the tree.
The whole tree will be a fruit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tree didn't listen. He says, no,
They
we'll
won't.
make the fruit and we'll be this way. It made things complicated.
I don't get that.
How did it? I don't know.
I don't get that the tree did not listen. That's what I don't get. I heard
You
that
understand
before.
how Adam Arishon? Then Adam Arishon also didn't listen.
No.
Yes, he didn't
No.
listen. Hashem told him, from every single tree you can eat, but this tree don't eat.
The woman did not listen. Adam listened.
Oh, don't start again.
It's true.
Women didn't listen, but Adam also didn't listen at the end of the
But
day.
who have
He
the
made a
commandment?
cheshbon. You know what he did?
Who have
He used
the
this finger. He went like
commandment?
this.
The man
He went
have the
like this.
commandment,
You
not
know
the
what like
woman.
this is? He started
Yeah.
making pilpulim.
Adam says to the woman, don't do that. Hashem say to Adam. Adam have the commandment, not the woman.
Adam Arishon was to blame at the end of the day. It doesn't. You're right. Adam Arishon blamed it on the wife, like we all do. He says, "Hanachash hishiani haisha," the lady that you gave me
Yeah.
made me sin. At the end of the day, Adam Harishon was held accountable and responsible. You want to know why? Good question. But he was held accountable and responsible. Why? Because he made cheshbonot rabim. He made a lot of different calculations. The one fruit that didn't make any cheshbonot was the etrog. Because why do we take an etrog? It says etzo upirio shaveh. The tree and the fruit is the same. The fruit is all peel. It's the same thing as the tree. It's the same thing.
You can eat
So
the tree.
that's why the etrog is so holy. That's why you give to a lady who's pregnant to bite off the etrog as a segula. Listen to this.
You can do that.
Listen to this. Listen to this. I think we once said it in shul because why does a lady have birth pangs during her labor? Because there was the sin of the etzadat. But the etrog didn't sin by the etzadat because it was straight. It listened to Hashem. So that'll come to rectify on the easy birth. When she bites it, it'll have easy birth. On Tu Bishvat, there's a special prayer also to pray for a good etrog. It's all consistent. That to go b'pshitut with
Can I
Hashem.
close the door?
Yes. Go. Baruch Hashem, it's so hot in here. I remember the days where it used to be cold. I remember one.
But some say, Rabbi, some say the figs.
Somebody was on
Some say
holiday.
the
There was also some people say
Some say the grape,
Same with grapes.
events.
Yeah.
Yes, because the grapes make sense. Because the Nazir doesn't need the grapes. The Noah make the sin with the grapes. The Elot make the sin with the grapes. Make sin. Because also says that the Chava, they cheat the Adam.
You're right, you're
they
right.
make the squeeze the,
You're right.
the grapes.
And you know, whenever there's a
he doesn't
machloket-
look the grapes.
And when the
That's
machlok-
why the Adam eat it.
wine,
Doesn't look
Wine
that's
gets
why.
meant to sin.
Yes, but doesn't look the
alcohol.
grapes. Yeah.
The point being is like this: is that the etrog has a advantage that it's not overcomplicated. In our life, especially this generation, we're so complicated and this and that. Do you believe in God? Why should we believe in God? An atheist or not atheist? I'm agnostic. I'm atheist. I'm reform. I'm conservative. Oh, I went with my son to the doctor today. He started giving my son a whole speech how Judaism is a progressive religion, and nowadays we're discovering that shechita is more painful to the animal, and blah blah blah, and everything like that. People make things more complicated, and then they get themselves into problems. In other words, they make themselves, we have to work all the time, work all the time, and then, why? We came out with the latest studies that a person has to have a day of rest in order to be normal. Or they say, yeah, no holds bar with anything to do with sexuality, and do everything, and then they say, no, there has to be times where husband and wife should separate. Otherwise, it's not a healthy marriage. Or during menstruation, it's not proper to be together because it could cause ovarian cancer. But that Hashem made the human race. He made the world, and He's telling you, I know from the beginning the DNA of the world, and I'm telling you that this is the healthy way to function. I'm telling you that shechita is how to eat animals. I'm telling you that by family purity. I'm telling you for kashrut. I'm telling you it's good for you. And they're going to come up with studies with that chazir is no good. You know what? Very nice. Whether they find it, whether they don't find it, we know that for a spiritual healthy and for a physically healthy, we just have to go mitzvimut. You know, there's a big question. Why do we have a mitzvah of emunah? It's obvious. You go outside, you see trees, you see beautiful things, orange. There's no mitzvah. What mitzvah of emunah? A mitzvah is something that you have a challenge on.
Is it a mitzvah?
Yes,
Emunah is a mitzvah?
there's a mitzvah.
It's like asking the question, the chicken or the egg. Technically, you cannot do mitzvot without emunah deep inside of you, right?
Right here, you're right.
But you have to believe.
No, but that's the base for everything.
Right, so you have that, but there's a mitzvah of emunah.
You have
You're
to
right.
believe.
You're right. It's obvious, but I don't know if it's a prequel. Maybe you can do mitzvot without being full emunah. But there's mitzvah every single moment to believe. It's one of the six constant. There's 6 constant mitzvahs. I have a friend in LA. His name is Ephraim Shor. He's an amazing guy. He gives out these. He has a very rare disease that one day he woke up and he started having less and less function in his things, and he's a cripple almost. And he goes around all day in LA saying, "Are you happy? I'm happy to be a Jew." He gives out these blue cards. Smile, keep smiling. And in the back, you have the 6 mitzvot that a person always has to remember. And one of those mitzvot is always to have emunah in Hashem. Now, asks one of the big thinkers, "What's the mitzvah?" You go, "Of course, there's no mitzvah. It's obvious." He answers, "You're right. On that, on the obvious, there's no mitzvah emunah. Emunah is on the hidden things that you don't see, that you're not sure, that you don't see. That's where the mitzvah is. But the truth is, emunah is something logical that is not so complicated. We make it complicated. Yitro made it complicated. Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, "Okay, for one son, I listen to you. The second son, no. The second son, no." Then we have to go, and why? There's another important point over here in Parashat Yitro that's a little bit later on. It says like this. We come to the Aseret HaDibrot. Kotomar lebet Yaakov. This is how you should say to the children of Yaakov. Right? Says Rashi, Ele dvarim asher tedaber bnei Yisrael, lo pachot velo yoter. Don't tell them any less, or don't tell them any more. Why don't tell me less? What's the big deal? Any less or any more? So he says like this. Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem knew that Moshe Rabbeinu is the transmitter of Torah. If Moshe Rabbeinu would be a good orator, a good speaker, he could convince people. So maybe Bnei Israel are accepting the Torah just because it's like, wow, he convinced them, not really because they really believe it. He said, Moshe, speak very bland. Yeah? Don't speak enthusiastic. Speak in a monotonous, in a stuttering voice. Speak exactly what you have to, not more and not less. That way, they'll accept the Torah. And we know that they'll accept it in truth. There was a rabbi who used to teach his students. He would always speak to them in a very boring tone, very monotonous. He would speak, not like what I do, that I have to wake up everyone and I have to, he was like this. He says, it says in the Torah. Why? He wanted them to hear the words and that they should learn the words for what it is, not for anything around it.
Animated.
Yeah. Nowadays, everything has to be like a movie. You're competing with a tablet. You're competing with the television. You're competing with all these things. You got to make it really interesting, and that's important nowadays. And I'm not taking away from that. But the ideal was in Kabbalat Torah. Hashem told Moshe exactly what you have to speak about, not more, not less. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu got punished by hitting the rock. Hashem told him to speak to the rock. Okay, big deal. So he hit the rock. He says, no. Your job is the transmitter of Torah. You're just a conduit. Whatever I say exactly has to fit. You do a little bit more, a little bit less. It's adulterated already. We need unadulterated. We need pure from that. You're just a conduit. And Moshe Rabbeinu. So Moshe Rabbeinu was all about just nothing more, nothing less. Just following Hashem the way Hashem said it. But Yitro had a different mahalech. Yitro had a different philosophy in life.
But what I don't like with the Yitro is that the Yitro go there.
Yeah.
blessed Hashem.
Yeah.
The first person that blessed the Hashem
Yeah.
after the
Was
exodus
Yitro.
to Egypt, yes, it was the Yitro. She took the Torah and after go back. Go back to do what?
He didn't do Avodah
Some
Zarah.
says yes, some says go back because of mission.
He opened up Esha Torah.
to convert the people. The Torah doesn't finish yet. Finish 40 years in the desert.
Okay,
Stay
but he
there
knew.
and
He knew
enjoy
enough
the
to
people.
learn. He knew enough to learn.
Stay there.
He
yes.
felt that his...
Then go back.
Emmanuel,
Go back
he
there.
felt his job is that he can influence the rest of the world. He was a big idealist.
Well, so what? Did you go and open a college?
Yeah, no, he opened up an outreach center.
You did?
Arachim.
I think so. Something like that. He went and he preached the teachings of Hashem.
But
I
teach
think it's
what?
written somewhere.
Teach what?
What?
Teach what?
Teach about Hashem. People believed in Avodah Zarah. He taught about Hashem.
Well, he knew the in and out of the Avodah Zarah, so...
He taught about Hashem. Now listen to this. Listen to this. There was a story in Haifa. It's interesting. I was reading now, just getting off topic, totally off topic. I'm learning certain halachot, Moroccan halachot regarding Gitin. Okay, I'm writing on this section now.
Did you see the movie?
No, I didn't, but you told me about it.
What's Gitin?
Gitin, divorce bills. Very complicated halachot. There was one hacham named Rav Yitzchak Hazan. Yitzchak Hazan, niftar in 1990 or something. And he was a dayan in Casablanca beforehand. Very big Talmid Chacham. But to write Gitin is a tremendous responsibility. Tremendous responsibility. And he writes, it's interesting. He writes when he moved to Israel, so he said, I made a blessing, Baruch shepitarani me'onsho shel zeh. Baruch Hashem that I don't have to deal with Gitin anymore. I was saying, Baruch Hashem, I gave back this job that I don't have to worry about because it's a very big responsibility. But in Haifa, he said, they made me take it back again and I had to deal with it. And I see actually, he has back and forth letters. I saw with a Rav in Toronto, Rav Gedalia Felder. He was the Rav of Shomer Shabbos, now his son is the Rav there. Well, Rabbi Felder from last night, right? Actually, I told Rabbi Felder that I saw Rav Chazan to discuss the Gitin back and forth in Haifa. So I just mentioned Haifa, I remember that. I thought I would tell you that. But nothing to do with the topic. But in Haifa, there was a story when they started working on Shabbat. There was doing constructions, so there started becoming protests. It was in the early years where Shabbat, there was no status quo. There's Shabbat, for Shabbat, and those are saying no, we have to work on Shabbat. In Israel, it was after the war. It was heated, and they were standing at a construction site, and all of a sudden there's a face-off. There's this big guy, well built, bronze. Listen to this story. You're gonna like this one. And he comes. And he says, I don't care, and I don't care about working or not working. If my big boss gives me a certificate not to work, I won't work. Otherwise, I have to follow his orders. So he's this little religious guy. His name is Moshe. He walks up over there. He says, oh yeah? So he stands in front of this big guy. Pulls up his... sleeves. Everyone's looking. Why? There's going to be it's going to be the fight of the year over here. This guy, he's like, yeah, are you serious? He picks up his things.
Saving life.
And he takes his arm and he shows him, here's the certificate. And he showed him the numbers that he had from Auschwitz. He says, you want the certificate? This is the certificate that we're Jews and we don't work on Shabbat. And the other guy was taken aback. And he too pulled up his sleeve. And it said, I also have those numbers. And they hugged and they cried and he promised he's not going to work on Shabbat. Sometimes complicated work. Well, why should we work? Who says you have to work? Who says this is called work? Yalla, enough. And you know what? We have this problem in everything. Whether, is it really forbidden? Really? You could find a way out. Really? You could do this. So you have to go betmimut with Hashem. Sometimes don't overcomplicate things. Go betmimut.
So can I ask a question?
Go for it.
So we have the Torah Shebichtav, which is no more, no less. It's here in this book.
And Torah Shebaal Peh. It was given at the same time.
Torah Shebaal Peh, why was that the Torah Shebaal Peh were allowed to be written down?
Not allowed.
And then
it's not allowed to be written.
No, I know why.
Why? Because that was going to ensure the vitality of the Jewish people that there's always going to be teaching.
So
if it's only in a book,
So through years, there was some sort of, let's say, a nevuah of something. There would be some sort of involvement, whatever, societies, and it. So did they leave it open to some sort of, not saying changes, but like adapting?
no way.
Because
So what is it?
because
so why?
it's not
Because
everybody-
Very simple.
You're
What
talking
was
about
the tradition? Moshe Rabbeinu. it
Learning
says in the
Gemara, Rabbi,
Moshe-
learning
no.
Gemara is a completely complicated arguments, this and that, and this. Are you saying, why are you making... the Gemara is a completely
I'll tell you
complicated-
my take on it. I'll tell you my
can't-
take on
you
it.
can't follow.
It was very simple. Moshe kibel Torah misinai, Yeshua Eskedim, Sinvim, Bimesor L'Anshei Knesset Gedolah, and the Rambam. We have the Rambam right there. He lists the chain exactly from who. You went to Eliyahu Navi, to Elisha, to this one, to this one, to this one, till it got to the time of the second Bet HaMikdash, and people started forgetting things. It's people started scattering around, and when the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, forget about it. Everyone is going to go. This one is going to go move to Miami. This one to Los Angeles. This one to Europe. This one to South Africa.
There was no reason to stay.
There was no way that the Torah was going to be remembered. So at that point, they said, you know what? And already things were not clear. That's the Gemara. Any little point, you look at the Gemara, it's all full of machlokets.
It's all machloket.
Because everything else is clear. You have the 50% is clear. 80% is clear. 20% is not clear. That's what the Gemara is about. Now, part of the Gemara, by the way, that it's written in a way. This one asks this one. He asks on him. That's how Torah is kept alive with debate, struggle for truth, and the way that it was written. That's how it's remembered, and that's how it's kept. That's one thing to remember. The Rambam writes this point.
But it's not for everybody, Rabbi. And if write it down,
It's
now for everybody.
Now,
like the
if
Kabbalah. It's not holy.
So the
it's not
Gemara was
Kabbalah, it's
basically
nuts.
a recording. The Mishnah was a recording
No, true.
of the oral law, and the Gemara was a recording on anything that was not clear. Because there's so many questions. Look, let me tell you one Mishnah I was learning yesterday. Sorry if this subject is not going to appeal to you. A ptsua daka, it says a pasuk in the Torah. Ptsua daka vekrut shvacha lo yavo bekal Hashem. A person who castrated himself is not allowed to be part of the Jewish people. Straightforward halacha.
He's nuts.
He's
And when you're saying
Wait.
castrated is today, like in today technology, you're talking about somebody
a
that...
vasectomy.
Vasectomy.
Vasectomy. He's not allowed to marry.
It's not like chopped it like in a new
but it has no function.
Not only that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have the person I was learning with. He's actually a urologist, and he doesn't perform vasectomies. If he wasn't religious, he would.
I know people that did it.
Yeah.
Jewish people,
sure,
so...
Yeah, sure. It's a common thing. So now, what about what about a ptsua daka who's a Kohen? It's not clear. It's not written in the Torah. In the oral law, it wasn't one of the things that was written in the Mishnah. So the Gemara elaborates. What does the oral law say on a Kohen who's a ptsua daka? And you know what? After the Gemara was written, millions of questions came up that are also not clear. So we have to all try to deduce what was written from the oral law. It's complicated. Like how many Sfarim over here are written on Chanukah, on brachot, on all these different subjects. On one subject, on one pasuk in the Torah, you could have books like this on it. Because there's more, and that's to keep oral law alive.
But the oral
yeah.
law was pretty much known mainly for the Chachamim, the Zkenim, or the Sanhedrin at that time.
No,
Not
everybody
for the-
had to teach it. No,
The people, the Amcha
They
people
all
did
had to
not
learn.
actually know
of
it.
course they had to.
They had
You
to-
bet your
No,
bottom
there's
dollar they had
no
to.
way,
In the
Rabbi,
time of
there's no way
Yechezkel,
that all of them
let me
knew
tell
it.
you something.
They didn't even know how to read.
Mr.
There was no
Cohen, in
book.
the time of Yechezkel, it says that every single child that wasn't proficient in the most complicated laws, Chizkiyahu, thank you, there would be a sword over there, and they would say, you don't leave little kid until you know, otherwise we're going to chop your little something off.
It's his time.
Chizkiyahu. Okay, but I'm saying, in his time there was more Torah learned, other times there was less Torah learned, but there was always the motto of learning Torah.
And all this stuff,
That was
all these
Yitro.
generations,
Yalla, we're going to finish off over here, Botai.